Welcome to this deep cinematic journey into the ancient tabernacle's most profound mysteries. Today, we step beyond the heavy veil into a world defined by fire and blood. Experience the transition from the shifting desert sands to the overwhelming presence of the divine. We shall map the sacred laws of Leviticus together in this documentary. Leviticus serves as the essential guide for a community seeking to dwell alongside a perfect creator. It is a manual for the soul in its highest form. Let us begin this transformation as we witness the threshold where humanity meets divinity through ritual. The journey starts now in the heart of the Sinai. This ancient record is not merely a list of rules, but a vibrant tapestry of worship. It defines the very boundaries of holiness for an entire nation. Imagine yourself standing amidst the stark, unforgiving beauty of the Sinai wilderness centuries ago. The air is thick with the scent of dust and anticipation. Thousands of tents surround a central glowing structure that anchors the people's entire existence. This is the dwelling place of the Almighty among His people. At the center stands the tabernacle, a sanctuary of gold and fine linen that hosts the glory. It is the bridge between heaven and the terrestrial realm. Witness the threshold where humanity meets divinity through the fragrant aroma of the burnt offering. It is a symbol of total surrender to the eternal. Every ritual act bridges the immense gap between corrupted mortals and the eternal flame. The worshiper identifies with the animal, transferring their hope and devotion. The burnt offering symbolizes total surrender, a life given to restore a broken connection. It is the soothing aroma that ascends toward the divine presence. Notice the heavy atmosphere within the bronze altar's glow as the scent reaches the firmament. This is the physical manifestation of a spiritual reconciliation process. Observe the grain offering, a gift of the earth's bounty representing the dedication of one's labor. It is a bloodless sacrifice of deep gratitude. The peace offering celebrates fellowship between God and man through a shared meal. It is a moment of joy and restored relationship within the community. When unintentional transgressions occur, the sin offering provides a necessary cleansing. The blood acts as a ritual detergent, purifying the sacred space from defilement. The guilt offering emphasizes restitution, teaching that sin often carries a social cost. One must make things right with both their neighbor and their God. Behold the mediators of the flame, chosen to represent the people before the blinding glory. Their calling is one of extreme precision and deep holiness. Consecration begins with washing, a physical sign of the inner purity required for service. No one may approach the sacred while carry the dust of the world. Aaron stands garbed in majesty, wearing the blue robe of the priesthood. Every thread and ornament carries a specific symbolic meaning for the nation's spiritual life. Upon his heart, he carries the names of the 12 tribes of Israel, etched into precious stones. He represents the entire community before the divine throne. The holy anointing oil sets the priest apart, marking him as the designated intercessor. The scent of frankincense and myrrh fills the entire sanctuary space. The climax of ordination arrives when divine fire consumes the first public sacrifice. It is the ultimate sign of acceptance and the start of a new era. Yet this high calling carries a weight of absolute precision. When unauthorized fire is offered, the tragedy of Nadab and Abihu reminds us of the stakes. Proximity to the sacred requires utter reverence and obedience. In a moment of disobedience, the very presence they served became their final judge. Silence falls where celebration once echoed within the golden walls. The lesson is clear. God is holy, and He must be treated as holy by all. Observe the boundaries of existence through the intricate lens of ritual purity. These dietary laws serve as daily reminders of Israel's unique status among nations. These laws are not mere hygiene, but symbolic maps of the cosmic order. They teach the people to distinguish between the common and the sacred every day. Conditions like skin diseases symbolize decay and must be handled with care. The priest acts as a guardian, protecting the community from spiritual and physical corruption. Even dwellings must be kept pure, as holiness permeates every aspect of life. The environment we inhabit reflects the state of our devotion to the divine. Transitioning through living water represents a rebirth into a state of readiness. It is the primary way to move from uncleanness back into the sacred. The immersion is a moment of complete surrender and renewal. It signifies the removal of the old state and the emergence of a purified being. Having been cleansed, the worshiper is now fit to enter the presence once more. The social body maintains its health by respecting these vital spiritual borders. Travel to the very heart of the tabernacle on the solemn Day of Atonement. This is the annual cleansing of the nation's collective soul from all sin. On this day, the high priest sheds his garments of glory for simple white linen. He approaches the Almighty with humility, seeking mercy for himself and the people. He first offers a sacrifice for his own transgressions and those of his household. Even the mediator must be purified before entering the most holy place. 2 goats are chosen to represent the 2 aspects of atonement. One will be a sacrifice to God, while the other will carry the sins away forever. One life is surrendered to provide the ritual detergent needed to cleanse the sanctuary. The blood covers the accumulated defilement of the nation's spiritual heart. The scapegoat receives the weight of every transgression confessed over its head. It becomes the living vessel for the community's collective guilt and shame. A designated man leads the animal deep into the desolate wilderness. The goat carries the burden away from the camp, never to return to the people again. The sins are removed as far as the east is from the west. This powerful imagery promises the total removal of transgressions from the divine sight. Now we experience the rare moment when the high priest enters the Holy of Holies. The air is heavy with the scent of aged incense and divine presence. Inside the veil, he stands in the presence of the Ark. It is the throne of the Eternal, where mercy and justice meet in a terrifyingly beautiful balance. The sprinkling of blood on the mercy seat completes the atonement. The sanctuary is cleansed, and the people are reconciled to their holy Creator once more. The heavy burden of sin is lifted, and the promise of complete restoration is realized. A new year begins with a clean slate for the entire community of faith. Understand that holiness extends far beyond the altar into the dusty streets of daily life. The call to be holy is a command for radical transformation. Be holy because I, the Lord your God, am holy. This is the heartbeat of the entire law, linking divine character to human conduct. The laws of sexual ethics create boundaries that protect the family and distinguish the people from the surrounding cultures. They promote a higher order of living. Love your neighbor as yourself. This famous command is the core of the Holiness Code, demanding compassion and fairness in every human interaction. Harvested corners are intentionally left for the poor and the stranger. This ancient system of social justice ensures that no one is left to suffer in hunger. Holiness is found in honest weights and fair dealings. Every transaction in the marketplace is an opportunity to reflect the righteousness of the Almighty. The appointed feasts create a rhythm of worship that marks the passing of the year. Each festival tells a story of God's faithfulness and provision. The Sabbath is the weekly foundation of holiness, a day to cease from labor and remember the Creator. It is a foretaste of the eternal rest promised. Passover remembers the great deliverance from slavery. It is a night of storytelling and symbols that bind the generations together in a shared history. First fruits celebrate the beginning of the harvest, acknowledging that everything we have comes from the hand of the divine provider. It is an act of trust. The Feast of Tabernacles commemorates the desert journey, reminding the people of their temporary status on earth and God's constant protection over them. Every 7th year, even the land must rest. This Sabbath year teaches that the earth belongs to the Almighty, and we are merely stewards of His bounty. The Jubilee trumpet heralds the arrival of the 50th year. It is a time of radical restoration and the ultimate expression of divine mercy in society. All debts are canceled, and the scales of society are reset. No family is allowed to be permanently impoverished, as everyone receives a second chance. Slaves are set free to return to their ancestral lands and families. The Jubilee ensures that human dignity is upheld above all economic interests. The covenant concludes with a stark choice between blessings and curses. Obedience brings rain in its season and peace within the borders of the land. Divine protection follows those who walk in the ways of holiness. The presence of the Creator remains a constant shield for a faithful and devoted people. Disobedience, however, leads to a withdrawal of divine favor. The land becomes barren, and the people find themselves in a state of spiritual and physical exile. Every generation faces the same choice that was given at the foot of Sinai. The way of holiness is the path to life and enduring prosperity for the soul. The shadows of these laws form the blueprint for a higher kingdom. They point beyond themselves to a future reality that will fulfill every ancient symbol. Leviticus acts as the essential bridge between the fall of man and the holiness of God. It provides the means for a relationship to exist despite human frailty. The ethical principles of the Holiness Code remain a beacon for the world today. Love for neighbor and justice for the poor are timeless requirements for any society. Ultimately, the law is about the heart's transformation into the likeness of the Creator. It is a journey from the outer ritual to the inner devotion of the Spirit. Witness the enduring legacy of a book that has shaped civilizations and souls for millennia. Its fire still burns for those who seek to walk the sacred path. A new day dawns for a people who understand the weight and the beauty of holiness. The light of the presence continues to guide the way through the desert. Rise above the mundane and embrace the calling to be a set-apart people. The journey of Leviticus is the journey of every soul seeking its true home in the divine. The sacred fire remains lit within these pages for all who have eyes to see and ears to hear. The map for holiness is laid out before you in vivid detail. Our journey through the sacred fire of Leviticus concludes here, but the map remains for those seeking the divine in their own lives today. This book is a living invitation to walk in holiness every single day of our lives. Thank you for joining this immersive cinematic experience together. May the profound lessons of the tabernacle resonate within your own path forward. Farewell until our next deep exploration of the timeless and sacred word. The sacred fire continues to burn for those who seek it. Walk in holiness and peace. Goodbye for now, and may your journey be ever guided by the light.